Hey guys, this is Nick with Cymatics, and in this video I will be covering the Reverb module of Pluto. The Reverb module contains two distinct modes. One is called Hall, which is the default mode. If you switch it, it'll go to Shimmer Reverb. And these two reverb modes sound really great, and they're very customizable. So let's just start with Hall. Hall is just an algorithmic reverb. What that means is that it basically uses an algorithm to compute a reverb sound. And you can use these parameters here to adjust the actual perceived size, the perceived space that the reverb is set in. So what the size knob is going to do, it's essentially going to collect more bits and pieces from the audio and scatter them about, which will kind of simulate a really large room, like a cathedral or something, where there's a lot of different surfaces, where the sound bounces around. And decay is just going to set the decay time, the time it takes for the actual sound to dissipate. So let's just show you a demo on this loop here. So the main knob here controls dry wet. So increasing the size will kind of increase the density of the reverb. So what you can experiment with is trying short decay times, short size values to get like a really claustrophobic kind of closet sound. You can also try turning up the reverb dry wet all the way and use short decay and size values to kind of get the same sound as the original, but just more spread out and hollow sounding. It's a really nice way of kind of smearing the sound a bit. Or if you can also go like for a full cathedral vibe by just increasing the size all the way and cranking the decay. You'll notice that when you turn the size down, the bits and pieces that we collect for the reverb stream are going to be more tightly packed together, and it'll create a more of a smooth reverb sound. Mod depth is just going to determine the amount of pitch modulation that's applied to the reverb. What that's going to do is that without mod depth, if you set mod depth to 0 and there's no modulation, sometimes you can get these kind of very computerized sounding reverbs. They're extremely stale and steady. They don't really represent what you would hear in the real world when it comes to reverb. Increasing mod depth will kind of modulate the pitch around a little bit to make it a bit more natural sounding. I typically set it to about 50%, just to smear the sound in terms of pitch a little bit. And damping is an important parameter here because what it helps you do, most rooms in the real world, high frequencies and low frequencies will tend to kind of dissipate in different rates. So typically the high frequencies will disappear first and then the low frequencies will kind of linger. And that's why we put the damping knob in here to kind of simulate that. And you can also do it the opposite way where the low frequencies disappear first and then the high frequencies linger. If you want to have it sound like a real room, just turn damping down below 50%, so it's negative. That'll make it so that the further the reverb goes, the darker it becomes. So try like a lower size, a higher decay value. So you can really make it dark so that the high frequencies of the guitar can stand out from the reverb. It gives it a very ominous character. Likewise, you can only filter out the low frequencies. That's a very useful feature. because it lets you radically alter the character of the reverb and the character of the room itself. And near the end, I'll talk about the mixer section, how you can even tailor the reverb sound even more. The next mode, which is the shimmer reverb, which we're very happy to have in this plugin, because it sounds really great. What shimmer reverb does, it's basically going to take your hall reverb sound and you can transpose it up and down in pitch. And in our case, it can go down to 12 or up 12, up an octave, which is kind of the standard shimmer effect, is by, having the pitch grains go up an octave. But ours can go down an octave and actually any semitone in between, which is quite useful if you want to do like a fifth. So essentially, the same controls apply. Decay, size, they mean the same thing. And when pitch is set to 0, it's going to sound quite similar to the matrix verb, not exactly the same. And sometimes you can switch between them and see which one you like more. And now the magic comes in when you say turn this up an octave. So what the brightness is also going to do is going to control the kind of brightness of those pitch grains that get pitched up. So what happens a lot of the times is on a shimmer reverb, when you turn up the pitch to an octave, you're going to get very kind of high-pitched, squealy kind of sounds. Sometimes you want them in there, sometimes you don't. So if you want to tone them down a bit, you can use the brightness knob, turn that down. You're going to get a very smooth-sounding shimmer that's going to improve pretty much any kind of source material you throw into it. Let's try a fifth. Seventh, maybe. So you're gonna have to find kind of a melody which accommodates different pitch increments, but the octave, like, you have that option basically, is to set it to any pitch you want. And so, for instance, if I turn this up all the way, dry wet all the way, I can actually just hear the whole thing. You kind of hear the pitch artifacting going on there. So what we want to do is another really cool thing that I do a lot, which is actually super pleasant sounding, is turning down our brightness a bit and using the negative octave, which is going to kind of give this ominous low end to anything, especially strings. If you try strings, it's amazing. Try some other melodies here. So without it, and with the octave down shimmer. Kind of sings out like that. It's very beautiful sounding. So I really recommend you guys try this out. If you feel like you have a sound which could just do with a bit more thickness. Well, maybe, I don't know. Just you want to make a sound as if there's like multiple people playing it, or there's just coming from multiple different angles, and you're trying to sort of orchestrate a single sound. Then shimmer is actually a really cool way of doing it, because you can either add a low octave version of it, a high octave version of it. you just kind of create a free accompaniment, because it's not exactly the same thing transposed down, but it's kind of a smeared, spread out, atmospheric version of it, which can really help your mix out. It can just take a single sound and transform it from something not really interesting or tenable to something that can like be the main sound of your song. A lot of cool sounds you can create with this. So that's going to be the Reverb module. Thanks all for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.